Hey all, today I'm going to be showing you how to embed a Adobe Edge animation on your static HTML page. So you can see here, let's get started right away. I've got an animation, and if I just play this back, it just animates in Hello World. There's a microphone. If you're looking for that tutorial, I've got it linked to in this post, but basically I've just got a click event on this microphone. Changes the mouse to a cursor hand so I know I can click on it, and then when I click this it fires a microphone clicked event to the window, so I can look for that on my static page. So that's sort of how you connect animations. If you haven't seen that tutorial, check it out. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is explain some of the problems you can run into. So this Adobe Edge animation creates a file. If I look in my files here, I can see that I've got this AN file, which Adobe uses to just keep track of the whole thing. And then I've got demo HTML, and then I've got some Edge.js, Edge Actions.js, and then an includes file and an image for the microphone. So if I look at the code for this, you can see under my Edge project here, I've got the project file, or the project folder, which is where I'm saving basically this, the AN file and the HTML and all that. So if I just, you might think you can just go into demo.html and grab this code block and also the stage block here and just embed them on your page. And you might get away with it, you might not. Part of the issue is transferring MIME types, and there's a bunch of calls to a bunch of different files, and it's really not simplified and nothing is minified. So to keep this as efficient as possible and keep it as reliable as possible, you want to actually use the publishing tool. So I'm going to go into Animate here, and you can see for this project everything looks fine. I'm going to go into Publish Settings. I'm ready to publish this now. So I'm going to go into Publish Settings, and you can see I have a choice of target directories. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure web is checked. Then I'm going to go into my target directory, and I've got this project folder where I'm saving everything. I want to export this animation to a new folder. So I'm going to choose Published. I just made up Published. It just tells me that everything in this Published folder should be the published animation. So I'm going to choose that folder. Images, audio, scripts, those folder names are all fine. I don't want to host on Adobe CDN. I want to host this myself and want to publish content as a static HTML page. So I'm just going to hit Save. I'm going to go up to File. I'm going to go Publish. And you can see it blip there, which tells me it did something. So in my files now, under Published, you can see I've got this demo Edge.js, demo HTML, Edge includes, and then images. So if I go into my code now and look at this, under my published folder, I'm going to be able to pull up an HTML page that looks like I can embed some things. So the first thing to notice is this Adobe Edge runtime code block. Basically, this is Adobe's way of loading things onto the page. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm just going to stick it on my page somewhere where it makes sense. Now, if you wanted to get super uptight about it, you might want to break this runtime up. You might put the meta tag up higher on the page, put the styles with the rest of your styles, and the scripts with the rest of your scripts. I'm not going to do that for now. I think that this is okay for now. So you can see that if I try to run this right now, well, first I need to, I've only grabbed the runtime, so next I need to grab the stage div, and these subdivs are just preloading elements that Adobe Edge uses. So I'm just going to grab this whole code block, this whole div statement here, and insert it into my page. And you can see some formatting. Okay, so I've got my stage embedded on the page. I've got my Adobe runtime. Now, if you're wondering what some of this other stuff is, I'm just using this thing called Skeleton, which is just a framework for making your page responsive. So I've got one column to the left, one column to the right, and 10 columns in the middle where the stage should be. So if I save this page right now and I try to run it, you'll notice that nothing happens. And if you look at your errors, failed to load, resource server, status 404, all that stuff, that's because my URL here is wrong. You can see in my examples Edge folder, it's looking for something called Edge includes, and then the minified file. And if you look at my folder structure, you can see in my Edge file, it's going to look for something called Edge includes. It's not there. It's actually under published, and then Edge includes. So I need to tell the Adobe runtime how to find this file. So I'm going to do that. And you can see up here, it's just calling it JavaScript. So that should be easy. It's just under the folder published. So I'll give it the right URL. And if I reload the page, you can see it changed. Again, 404 not found. There's something else it's looking for. And you can see it's a different file. It's looking in Edge for something called demo_edge.js. So where is it trying to find that? It's being called from 501min, which is the file we just loaded in, and it's looking for demo_edge.js. I don't see anything here in the runtime that says demo_edge.js, but what I do see is this demo name, and that name is special because it's actually a URL. This demo is going to be used to append _edge.js to it. So I need to just tell this URL where to be found as well. And you can see demo_edge.js is actually over here in my published folder, and it's not under Edge includes. So again, I can just add in the published directory here. And now it should look for the Edge project under published, and then demo, and then it will automatically append _edge.js to make sure that it finds it. So if I reload the page, you can see my animation gets included, and then it's not finding the right image folder. Okay, so it's not finding the image. Basically, it's a 404 not found. It's looking under Edge_images microphone gray, and if you can see here, Edge images. These are the images for my static site that I have already. The images folder where microphone is stored is actually under the Edge folder. Now this becomes a personal preference for you. You can either go into demo edge.js and change the URL to point to the local folder, or what I like to do is just simply take this PNG and move it to my static folder. And if I've placed that in there, now you can see when I reload the page, that microphone is found. You can see here, when I click on the microphone, nothing happens. So I want to make that clickable real quick. So what I need to do is I've got this animation. If I click on microphone, you can see there's a couple things. I'm changing the cursor here to hand so that you know you can click on it. And then you can see there's this action. I've added an action. I've gone ahead and already done this. Basically, when you open up the action for the first time, it should look similar to this. You click this, it says, oh, insert some code for an action. What I want to do is tell my static page that I've clicked on the microphone from within the Adobe Edge runtime and animation. So it's all just JavaScript. It has access to the same DOM. So what I'm going to do is do something. Adobe Edge is really convenient. It adds jQuery for you. So I can just use jQuery to trigger an event. So I'm just going to trigger an event on the window object, since I know window will be global to everything. I know window I have access to in the Adobe Edge runtime as well as my static page. So I'm going to trigger an event on the window element, and I'm just going to say trigger, and I'm going to say microphone click. Sure, why not? Okay, so we'll save that. You can see here on click I've got a window trigger microphone clicked event. Okay, so I'm going to save that. I'm going to file publish. Okay, and then in my code here, I shouldn't need to update this at all because I didn't update any elements. And that action should be included in the demo_edge.js file. So the only thing I need to do now is look for that event on my regular static page. So you can see this is the Adobe runtime. There's nothing about that trigger event here. Right up here I've got my static page script. So right down here under my events, I'm just going to look for an event on the window called microphone clicked. And if it's the same name, it should hook up. So I'm just going to pass an anonymous function in here. And I'm going to just console log it for now. Console.log microphone clicked event fired. Okay, so now what I've got is window is looking for that microphone clicked event, and my actions is triggering the same microphone clicked event here. And so now if I just publish one more time to refresh, we should see that the animation plays. I've got the cursor over the microphone, and when I click on it, microphone click event fired. So now the only thing that I want to do is tell when the animation has loaded and when it's done playing. So I've written out a code snippet for that. Basically here we're going to take our Adobe Edge runtime and we're going to modify it. So right underneath where it says load composition, I'm just going to add a couple lines. I'm going to paste in this code snippet and I'll explain what this is. Basically, Adobe Edge gives you a class, a super class you can use. They use load composition to load the comp to the stage and do all the things that Adobe needs to do. But what you can do is actually look for, they give you a nice convenience function called bootstrap callback. And bootstrap callback basically calls right before the Adobe Edge animation plays. So the Adobe Edge animation is loaded onto the page, and right before it starts playing, it calls bootstrap callback. And that callback gives you a comp ID. So that's your composition ID. You can pass it in an anonymous function, which is what I've done here, a callback. And I'm taking in comp ID, and I'm just saying, oh, the composition has loaded. And with that comp ID now, I can do some things. And one of them is attach a timeline action for when the animation is complete. So you can see here below, let's actually make this a little bit more understandable. What happens here is the Adobe Bootstrap callback function calls right before the animation plays, gives you the comp ID, and then down below that, inside the function, what you can do is bind a timeline action to the comp ID, and you want to just pass in the stage, the default timeline, and then this complete, which means the animation is complete. So what you've done is bound a callback to that complete the animation, and in this case all I'm doing is logging out the timeline complete. So let's save it, let's go to the web page and let's see if that worked. You can see here the composition loaded, it gives me my comp ID, it says timeline is complete, and then I still get that microphone clicked event. So that in a nutshell is how you do it. Basically you want to use the publishing functions that Adobe Edge gives you. You want to fire any actions. You can fire them on the window, you can fire them on the stage. It doesn't matter as long as you're looking for it in the right place. And then in your static page, basically you've got this whole static page here. You need to embed the Adobe runtime. You can add some events to the Adobe runtime, and you need to make sure to embed the div holding your stage elements. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you later.